Greetings. My name is Mark Thomas McGuire to be exact. And while the channel here on YouTube is branded as Ombanda, that is not a personal reference, but rather an ideal to which I have poured forth my energies to realize in this harmonic universe number one, to bring heaven to earth. Ombanda is my vehicle to bring heaven to earth, to spiritualize matter, to bring ascension to the collective. Now, getting back to my name, I could go into the details of my life and talk about my rather unique background. However, the details of my life are quite inconsequential. What does matter, and more importantly, what matters to you, my dear, esteemed, honorable, and notable viewer, is my experience with religion, with God. And I want to share that with you because there was always something very different about me. And for the first 6 years of my life, I went to Catholic school, to St. Aloysius to be exact. And for example, in first grade, there was a prayer writing contest. Now keep in mind, this was for the entire St. Aloysius school, which went all the way up to sixth grade, I believe. But in first grade, I won the prayer writing contest. I came in first place for the best prayer, and this was for all grades, from first grade up to sixth grade. However, it goes beyond that. Let me tell you a story like no other. Please hit that subscribe button. Go on and leave this video a thumbs up, okay? Now, unlike my friends who would squirm and wiggle in church, I was so devoted to God that I always paid full attention and gave him my all. My church, my priest, loved my youthful conviction. The nuns, however, did not love me so much. And I told myself that each time I prayed, I was getting closer and closer to God. Now, does that sound familiar? Go on, think about it. So, as you can imagine, I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. I went to church daily. Now, granted, when you were in Catholic school, it was mandatory that you went to church every day before you went to school. So it was mandated that we had to go to church. But if it was not mandated, I would have been there anyway. So I went to church daily. I was even an altar boy. I even sang in the choir. Ombanda. And I prayed every day. I prayed very hard. You know what? Nothing really ever happened. I remember kneeling before the altar, though, one warm, humid, misty morning at Mass, my palms sweating as I bowed my head. But this time, deep down inside, I felt like God was a million miles away. It was like I was calling him on the phone and he wasn't answering my call. I simply could not feel that connection. You know the feeling of when you are really into someone, yet they never invite you to come over, and even worse, when you say hi, they look right past you and keep walking. You know that feeling? Well, that's how I felt. I started shaking as all of a sudden a feeling of doubt and inadequacy swept over me. The kind of doubt one has before a race or when it's your turn to bat and the team depend on you to hit a home run. Yet everyone's looking at you, not in encouragement, but in embarrassment that it's you up to bat. As I knelt dejected before the altar, my eyes gazing down at the stone, I wondered, was I not good enough for God anymore? Had I let him down somehow? Maybe God simply did not love me. I felt like something was seriously wrong, out of place, like I knew something big was missing. Something that should have been simply was not there. Have you ever had those kinds of doubts or feelings? You probably know how I was feeling, don't you? Just like in that famous painting where a man is reaching to God, but he cannot touch his finger. His infinite love felt just out of reach, and I had no idea why. That day, That day I made up my mind. I wanted the answer. Now I was half embarrassed, and yet part of me started burning up in anger. I decided, that's it. I said to myself, I would go on a lifelong quest to discover the real truth. And this is why I feel that this video right now is important. And I feel it's vastly important that you're watching this video if you've made it up to this point. Because you see, dear esteemed viewer, in many ways, we are more alike than you ever thought if you really admit it, if you really take off your mask of duality. Because I was convinced there was a very powerful energy inside of us and an ability latent in me to become a master of my own destiny. Now, what was this I was reading in the Old Testament? Did not it seem like magic? Powerful magic by magi of old, performing miracles, connecting to a source of energy, a God force that made them more than others, more than human. And why then the sudden veil of secrecy and censored change in the New Testament? Because Jesus, the Christ, was seemingly performing, actually Jesus means son of Zeus, but his true name was Yeshua ben Yosef, was seemingly performing some sort of magic for sure. Yet something was missing and being held back from us. We were now being told only to have faith, to just have faith. No! I knew there was more. I knew there was a powerful secret being deliberately kept from us. So, I dove into every metaphysical, philosophical, classical, and now magical text I could find in the great libraries of my universities, of my local libraries, on the streets, at the occult bookstores, everywhere I looked, burning the midnight oil in seek and in search of something that would give me the answer. I did go to university, attended university for 4 years. I spent years in the Army as a military intelligence analyst, trained Chinese linguist, Mandarin Chinese. My studies took me all over. My curiosity took me even further. I majored in spiritual studies through an online university. I even had a honorary pastor's degree, online certificate. But anywhere, I looked everywhere. That's the point. Across the globe, I searched everywhere and looking for what is commonly referred to as God and about these magical miracles. I studied Zen Buddhism. I studied Taoism, Hinduism, and every other Eastern ism out there because those were the only subjects that talked about stuff I liked, such as paths to enlightenment and God being inside of you and me, not some big principal kind of guy in the sky with stern look on his face and a wise beard. And while they did talk about God, unlike anywhere I'd ever read or heard, they were all expressed in symbols and veiled in ways too foreign for a simple kid from the USA like me to understand. Now, what I discovered next, however, changed my life forever. A magical spiritual power unlike any other. I spent the next 3 decades mastering languages, ritual magic texts, poring over ancient grimoires, and studying as well as applying through trial and error the best core methods taught in the ancient Hermetic and the mystery schools of old. And finally found the way to reconnect with the divine magical current that dwells deep within us all. That feeling of being connected to center, of being one with source that I had been searching for had finally arrived. And after that reconnecting, I was able to take full control of my life and make powerful positive manifestations to take place on my way to becoming a master of my own destiny. Now listen, by the time you've finished watching this video, if you've made it to the end, you too will be in a position ready to become a master of your own destiny. Now keep viewing, please. And all it took was the simple shift from God is outside of me that my church had taught me into the true direct knowing that God is within me. So that is what this whole God Force series is all about. That's what the whole Universal Laboratory is all about, is realizing that you are divine, that you have an aspect of the divine within you. And I promise you, if you hit the subscribe button and stay tuned, I'm going to show you, I promise you, that you too are going to be able to reconnect to this magical God force, okay? I promise you. Big promise, I understand, but listen, the secrets to making magical energy manifest to change reality around you, that is worth it, okay? That is worth it to hit the subscribe button and come along for this ride. Stay tuned. Because listen, this is powerful stuff. That one simple little truth about God being without to viewing yourself as an aspect of divinity, God within. It is a simple shift. All right. The truth and the direct knowing that God is within you. And when you accept that, when you know that, suddenly and unexpectedly, a powerful God force energy will ignite within you, flowing outward through your body and connecting you with everything, with cosmic consciousness. So please hit that subscribe button and stay tuned as we continue this journey of God force.
Namaste. Namaskaram.